What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about NIO. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what is really influencing it, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 0.29% during the pre-market, which is very weird considering what just came out. So there's been in the past a couple main things that really moves NIO higher, and that is more reassurance on a geopolitical standpoint. So this did just come out. So looks like the States and China did come to some sort of tentative agreement on their tariffs. So States is going to slap China with a 30% tariff, and then flip side, China is going to hit the States with a 10%, significantly lower than what it currently is. In theory, that should really drive up both markets and through that their stocks, as what has happened in the past. But you are seeing NIO with relatively low-ish volume for the pre-market, and you're not really seeing much happen with during the pre-market. Flip side, you do see shorts returning 634,000 shares again pre-market. So they do feel, clearly based on that news, that it should be moving higher. But there's one thing that's really lagging it. So I'll go over that in a second. But 13.21% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 203 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts have been fairly active, and I feel like NIO, given the circumstances, if it does start to move higher to that 350 mark, that is where shorts might wake up a little bit more. But I feel like NIO is getting suppressed this morning because of this. So obviously, whatever happens to one EV maker kind of translates to the other. So Li is cutting some of their guidance, looks like between 15 to 20,000. And so, yeah, ultimately, I think a lot of companies are going to be doing that, Lucid being one of them most likely. So I think just at the end of the day, other automakers and investors are going to see this as a indication that is going to happen to NIO. So decrease in demand. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from this, there isn't really anything coming out from and associated to NIO that I haven't really brought up in previous videos. So no new analyst ratings, as you can kind of see, no updates. So honestly, the next big catalyst is simply going to be their monthly numbers. So you can kind of see the last one was done 7 days ago, but when they do put out their monthly numbers, anticipate at least 2 or 3 analyst ratings as a byproduct of that. So hopefully they do hit a home run, and then you'll see some solid single digit price targets, or better yet, maybe even double. But shorts returning is always a positive thing for today. We'll just have to wait and see how the market does interpret everything. But from the options, you see a consensus for it to be above 350 for today. From the bull standpoint, bears are anticipating for it to be sub 350. With today being Friday, this is the open interest, so kind of just take note of that. As I've mentioned, if NIO does kind of move higher towards that 350 mark, this is where you'll have shorts and market makers trying to suppress it below that, because open interest, there is 11,000 at that 350, 12,000 at that 6,000 at 450, and a measly 862 at that 3. So they're going to let it close above 3, obviously, and I think it'd be rather hard for them to try to suppress it below 3, but nonetheless, if it does get close to that 350, they would rather not have that 11,000, which works out to be 1.1 million shares in the money. So at the end of the day, NIO should technically move up because of this tariff news. But again, if it gets close to that 350, just don't be surprised if it does get somewhat manipulated down. With it at 343, though, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 331 is going to be a strong support. Hasn't really been tested whatsoever over the last couple of trading days. Flip side, 349 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, which given the circumstances kind of does benefit shorts, because then that 349 will act as a somewhat wall below that 350. So they might not have to overly do it too much by kind of doubling down or tripling down. So just watch for that 349 to be that key pivot. Most likely it should, I would assume, run up based on that tariff news, but most likely bounce off of that and just consolidate a little bit. So let me know your general thoughts on that. But like I said, no new analyst ratings, even articles, nothing really coming out whatsoever. So it's just now we have to wait for the next big catalyst. On the chart itself, there's not really much positives aside from the fact that it is overbought. And I've brought that up pretty much every single video. So that does mean the first good piece of news associated to NIO, or let's say on a larger standpoint, then you could see NIO really move up higher. But I think today the market is digesting two things. So you have that positive of the tariff news, and then you have the negative of the guidance cut from Lee. So kind of people are not really sure how to interpret everything. But as far as this goes, 378 is going to be that 50-day moving average, and that's kind of the big deal for NIO. So hopefully they do put out pretty good numbers, monthly numbers, and then that'll bring it to that 50-day moving average, and then who knows from there if FOMO kicks in and pushes it higher. But definitely NIO has lagged for a while, and even over the last month and a half, as I brought up, I think it was like a week ago, there's been only like 7 green days in a month and a half ish. So it's been very unfortunate for NIO, and I think it's the whole manipulation has really stepped up to a new level recently, because I've been covering NIO for a while, and yes, it does get suppressed quite easily, but you don't have this magnitude of a downtrend. Last time this did happen was pretty much March going into April 2024. This is where you just saw massive suppression, but we did see a very nice push higher as a byproduct. So not everything, it's not down and out just yet, but definitely it needs to do something. Let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of viewpoint on that? As I've mentioned, if it does get, for whatever reason, close to that $3 range, that's where I will be a buyer again. But until then, I'm just going to be coasting, doing covered calls on my positions and just letting it ride. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone has a good weekend. Stay tuned for my video over this weekend on some expectations for this upcoming week and what could cause some volatility and so forth. One final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.